So we're on our honeymoon. This is our little honeymoon nest.
Hello and welcome to another 15-minute recap of Sister Wives, where I use a spinning wheel to decide what episode I will recap. You can see up on the spinning wheel I have numbers 1 through 19. I just accidentally put in 19 instead of 18. Season 19 is going to actually start in September. But forget that part. The spinning wheel chose season 1, which I was excited about, and episode 9. So that's a pretty good episode. The biggest issue is there is a lot to talk about from this one, and I'm trying to do it in 15 minutes. So this episode is actually the honeymoon special. This show starts out in San Diego with Cody and Robin on their honeymoon, and they are really proud of themselves. They think they have just done everything right. We hear about how well the honeymoon is going and how they feel that they did everything right when it came to getting married. Like, they had waited 10 months before they got married, and that's a really long time in the polygamy world, but it all worked out. They feel like everything is perfect. So they're really happy with themselves, and we also find out that while they're on their honeymoon, Robin's mom had been keeping the kids, but Robin had gotten a call from Mary, and she said, hey, can we go get the kids so they can spend time with us? So we find out that Robin's kids are now with, the original 3 wives, and they're going to be spending time with the Brown family that's back in Utah. So we start out with Cody and Robin, but then it switches over to the other wives, and they are all on the couch talking about this honeymoon. And this is where we start to get the real deal about what is going on. Christine says it's hard because this is different from Cody just going out of town or having a normal anniversary getaway with a wife. It feels different. And Janelle really expresses how she feels. I thought Janelle was amazingly honest in this part. She is clearly not happy, and the problem for her is actually the length of the honeymoon. So she's not upset about it being a honeymoon, it's that the honeymoon is going to be lasting 11 days.
I don't know what's acceptable, but I think 11 days is ridiculous, to be honest with you. I think he has a big family, and I think 11 days is too much.
So you hear Janelle saying she's not happy, and this is something we're going to hear throughout this episode. She is not thrilled about this being an 11-day honeymoon, and she says that she knows this is illogical. She says she likes Robin. She likes Robin's kids. She likes that Robin's in the family. She doesn't like this honeymoon. And so she's saying it's not logical to feel this way, but then Christine comes through and says, yes, it is. Your feelings are logical. What you're feeling is okay. And so I just thought that was good that Christine said that, but you know what? It doesn't matter because this is what we see Janelle do the entire time this show is on. You watch this show the whole time. Janelle is trying to push her feelings aside by saying they're not logical, even when they are. After this, the show switches back over to Cody and Robin, and they're doing a couch session together. And they're talking about how they waited until marriage to have intimacy. And that's really important so that the other wives would feel secure with Robin coming into the family, and how it's important to have high moral standards. And the whole time that Robin is talking, Cody is just grinning in this really smug way. I'm going to put a photo up so you can see it. I don't know why. I just noticed this whole thing throughout the episode. I mean, I guess he's just so happy that Robin's in the family. He can't quit grinning. But it annoyed me. It got on my nerves because we know how this is all going to unfold. And looking back on him grinning, it just makes me mad. I don't want to see him grinning like that. And I know that's ridiculous, but that's just how I feel. But it wasn't just Cody's grin that annoyed me during this part. I also just kept saying ew every time they showed a clip of Robin rubbing Cody's hands in the car. Like, whoever was back there editing and in the production, whoever was zooming in on it so we had to see her rubbing his hand, don't do that again. We don't want to see the hand rubbing anymore. The show flips back over to the original wives, and we find out about their honeymoons. Christine and Cody had went on a road trip and listened to Phantom of the Opera. Mary said for her honeymoon, she'd actually gotten sick for 3 days after her wedding, and it cut into the honeymoon time. And so then they had to hurry on, and they just drove to Jackson Hole, Wyoming. Janelle said that she took 5 days with Cody, and they went on a road trip. So you see a trend there. There's road trips, but You know, there's no big destinations. It doesn't sound like they're really exciting. They make a point of saying that Cody just flies by the seat of his pants. Like, he has no plan most of the time. So Robin is getting a really different experience with him. So this is where we really start getting a glimpse of what is going on here. And you can tell that the honeymoons are a sensitive subject. Now, while all of this is happening, Mary and Janelle are doing a lot of the talking, but the camera is showing us Christine. We're getting Christine's face. She's not saying a lot, but you can tell that she is really unhappy.
Me, I really don't think he would take 11 days. Our honeymoon was like 3 days.
You know, he and I just celebrated our 20th anniversary. We're celebrating 20 years together, and I get 3 days.
There's really a lot that is said during this part of the show, and because of copyright reasons, I can't show all of that stuff, but you can hear there. They can tell there's a difference, but of course they justify all of that like they always do. You know, Cody has to treat us different because we need different things. But you heard Janelle, I don't think Cody would take 11 days. So you can't tell me that doesn't hurt. And they're seeing that there is a difference. And Janelle is the one who is most vocal about being upset when it comes to this honeymoon. After this, we go back over to Cody and Robin. They are heading out for a surfing lesson, and we find out that Cody had the idea to go surfing without ever knowing that it was on Robin's life list. I mean, isn't that amazing, right? So amazing. It's clear this marriage was just meant to be. I mean, Cody had no idea it was on her list to surf, and they both wanted to do it. I mean, seriously, guys, when you're watching it, it's kind of funny to me. Like, it feels like we're listening to high schoolers talk about their relationship. So while they're out surfing, the original wives are back in Utah, loading up all of the kids to go out for a picnic. And during this time, we again hear Janelle express frustration about the length of this trip.
It's the fact that he's focused somewhere else for 11 days and on one particular person for 11 days.
In my opinion, Janelle just knew what was up. Like, she knew what was happening, so she was onto it from the beginning. So while Christine, Mary, and Janelle are heading out on this picnic with the kids, Cody and Robin are facing their fears and going surfing. This is Robin talking about how she is willing to die trying to surf.
Gosh, I'm gonna die. I don't care, but I'm gonna die trying because this is on my life list. And if you can't die about your life list, then what can you die for?
When I was watching this part, all I kept thinking was, this is probably unreal for Robin. She goes from being divorced with 3 kids and struggling in a trailer to courting Cody, getting married on the show, having a wedding she probably dreamed of. She's out there on an 11-day honeymoon, you know, surfing, which is on her life list. She's doing all these things. I wonder if she's thought about the fact that she's like stealing a husband and a father away from his family. I wonder if it ever crossed her mind that they have been struggling for years and they have never experienced anything like this with Cody, not the kids or the wives. Like, they have not vacationed like this at all. They haven't had the money to do this. I wonder if it's crossing her mind even a little bit that this may not feel good for everyone else. This may be hurting their feelings. I wonder if it ever crossed her mind. I feel like it didn't, because even though she's talking about how important it is for Cody to connect with the other wives, she never brings up how this all may really bother them. After the surfing lesson, we see Cody and Robin head over to the San Diego Wildlife Park, where they have a lot more PDA than any of us want to see, or probably anyone in that park wanted to see. And if you think I'm picking on them, I promise you I'm not. I'm going to go ahead and put some clips up here while I'm talking so you can see the ear nibbling and dancing. Meanwhile, Mary, Janelle, and Christine are out on this picnic with the kids. We hear them talk about how well the kids are all getting along, you know, how good it is with all of the kids coming together, like Robin's kids and their kids. And then it switches back to the honeymoon. And I would normally not say a lot about this, but I have to because Cody says something I want to bring up. Back over at the honeymoon, they are at that wildlife park still, and we see them ziplining. And they're talking about being scared of ziplining. And Cody says this.
I've got 4 wives. Nothing scares me but poverty.
I couldn't leave that out. We know Cody says that again in season 17 during the tell-all. Might be season 18. I can't remember. He says it during a tell-all in one of the more recent seasons. So basically, he's the same person he was from back then in season 1. Now, I want to switch over to the OG wives because something gets brought up that I think is worth talking about. They are at this picnic. Logan has taken over grilling, so he is flipping the burgers. Now, this isn't a big deal, but it kind of is with this family because he is taking the place of Cody, where Cody should be if he was there. Now, for a normal family, kid grilling wouldn't really be a big deal at all. They just like to cook. But with the original wives, they talk about how Logan steps up and fills in for Cody when he's not there. So I'm going to put a clip in here so you can hear it.
Especially since Cody's not around right now. It's really nice that we've got Logan to step in. It's just, we've got an almost adult male, and that's how we treat.
I don't think they realize how this looks to the outside world. We hear Janelle in the future talk about how Logan had to tuck the other kids in at night, and we see Logan cooking breakfast in this same season. So he's getting up in the morning and helping the younger kids get food. It's one thing for an older kid to help out with occasionally babysitting, or doing some extra chores. That's one thing. But when you begin fully depending on a child because the husband has decided to have multiple wives and more children than he can parent, it's completely different. And the wives also talk about their relationships with Cody. Mary talks about how she needs to focus on her relationship with him. And when she is having problems with Cody, she detaches from the rest of the family. So if she's mad at Cody, it's hard for her to be close to the other wives. And during this part, they also discuss how it feels like they're always wanting more time with him, so it starts to feel like their lives revolve around him. And Christine says that she wishes she didn't feel this way, and she wishes she was more independent. So she doesn't want to think about Cody as much as she does, but then Mary says this.
He is totally the glue that holds the family together. Why not have the world revolve around him? Because it's got to revolve around something else.
It's not healthy in any relationship to have your whole world revolve around one person, but it's even less healthy in this family because Cody, his life doesn't revolve around one wife or one set of kids. He's splitting his time everywhere. So Cody shouldn't be their whole world because they are definitely not his whole world. You know what I mean? So I think Christine's on to it. She knows she has to find something else to focus on. Back in San Diego, we see Cody and Robin going out for dinner and having an evening out, and we find out that Robin has insisted that Cody calls his wives. So here's a clip of Robin talking about that. Go ahead and try to watch Cody's face as he looks at Robin again. He's just grinning every time he looks at her in this episode.
I actually insisted that Cody call his wives on our honeymoon.
So he's just grinning while she's talking about these phone calls, but it goes over to them talking about Janelle. And we find out that Janelle was so upset about this honeymoon that even though Cody was calling her, she wasn't answering the phone, and she didn't answer the phone for several days, which I thought was kind of funny. Because of this, it talks a little bit more about Janelle and Cody's relationship, and they talk about how they were friends. They weren't really super romantic, and Cody says he feels like sometimes Janelle will look around at the other wives and think she's missing out on romance, but then when it comes to it, she doesn't seem to really want that either. So they just have this relationship that isn't very romantic, but Cody says he wishes it was. He wishes he could be romantic with her, but he feels like they're in a groove where there's just not a lot of romance. So the honeymoon ends, they head back, and then we get this story, and some of you are going to remember it. Christine calls Robin. So when Robin gets home, she gets a call from Christine.
Christine on the phone with me, she was in tears, and she just said, Robin, just tell me you needed this.
So basically, Christine was struggling way more than she let on, and when Robin got home, she called her and asked her if she needed it, and of course, Robin says yes. And then sitting there during the couch session, Cody's like, there were so many reasons. It was just harder because she came into the family when there were kids, so she didn't get alone time, so that 11 days was really important, of course. Now, there's only a few seconds left for me to do this in 15 minutes, but I will tell you what the end of the show is. It's the Browns saying the stuff they always do, that Cody treats them like individuals. He gives them what they need, even if it's different from someone else and may feel like it's not equal. He understands them, and that polygamy is hard, but it's worth it in the end. All the stuff you would think that the Browns say all the time, but we know now really isn't that true. That is how this episode ends. I just got done editing and realized now I have a few more seconds. So I want to add that when they got back from the honeymoon, there was a day where all the wives went shopping together. Cody stayed home with the kids and cooked dinner for everyone. So when the wives got back, they ate dinner together. Cody made a cake in a 9x13 pan, which I felt like was way too small of a cake for this family. Also, there's a moment where Robin says that Brianna, Dayton, Aurora, and Truly are all super close and have a special bond because they entered the family at the same time, which I thought sounded really funny because we know in the future they don't really have that much of a relationship. Anyway, now I'm done. So that is it for today. Go ahead and click like if you like this video, and I hope you come back for more 15-minute recaps.